Welcome to the penultimate match of the day 3 of the season, found online and on the red button every Monday. If match of the day 2 is Eddie Large, then match of the day 3 is basically Sid Little. What a lineup we have as well. Alan Shearer, Brendan Rodgers and Robbie Savage, and it's 20 years of the Premier League, so we're going to start straight in with this. Brendan, you're going first. You've picked your all-time starting 11 since the Premier League began, even though football did exist before that. So we have it here. Talk us through your choices.
Yeah, close
Obviously
choice.
the goalkeeper's at the bottom because I thought you put Shearer in net.
No, absolutely. I went for it was either Schmeichel or Seaman, which was a tough choice, but I went for the big guy.
I'd always go for Schmeichel, that choice, yeah.
Absolutely. Gary Neville, been really consistent right the way through his career and great leadership qualities. Obviously the two centre-halves, real players of dominance and leaders, but can also play. And Ashley Cole, who's been the outstanding fullback for a number of years. I've went for that sort of triangle in midfield with Scholes, one of the best passers of the ball in the duration of the Premier League. Wee bit of bite in there with Roy Keane, win it, give it, and a guy who, for me, invented what I would call the Zola zone, that space in between the midfield and the front line, and was an expert at that. Tough choice between him and Bergkamp. And then I went, obviously, then with goals, really. Henry, who likes to drift from the left side, just put him out there to start with. That gets Ronaldo in on the other side, who again can cut in and score goals. And obviously, the Premier League's best ever striker in Alan Shearer up front. So I've got goals, I've got strength, pace, and players of dominance, and more importantly, character.
He's got his forward line right, hasn't he? Straight away.
Got the midfield wrong. Can't believe I wasn't.
Did you pick that in the vision of how you'd love to play, how you do play, and that you've got your perfect triangle in the middle?
Well, I think that's what you do, don't you? You look at, I was actually, whenever you asked me to do it, I was actually trying to coordinate a team that was cohesive and a team that I would love to manage.
Terry over Stam and Ferdinand and Vidic. Was a
well,
big call.
you go down, you'll get your chance. You'll get your chance. Obviously, you won't be in every team, Alan, because you're not the type of person who would put yourself in your own team. or maybe I'm wrong. Let's take a look.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm not as vain as Robbie is.
Robbie will not.
I went with Schmeichel. I think he was an exceptional goalkeeper. Very similar to Brendan. Gary Neville. I went for Vidic and Adams, two warriors, if you like, and certainly know how to defend. Ashley Cole, I think, speaks for himself. Giggs, Scholes, Vieira and Ronaldo. And before anyone gives me criticism for putting Vieira ahead of Roy Keane, I actually spun a coin and it was Vieira that came out on top. Scholes and Giggs, I think, have just been absolutely sensational at Manchester United. Henry, you guaranteed goals. And I think with Cantona, not only were you guaranteed goals, you just didn't know what you're going to get with him. And that sort of number 7 role that he played, just in behind the forward or even the main forward, he was one of the best at that.
There's definitely more goals in that team, Alan, than there was in Brendan's. Taking a look at it, you're talking about that because it is choosing one brilliant player over another brilliant player, and it's hard. Was there a Stam Vidic debate in your head as well?
Yeah, and also Terry and Ferdinand. Yeah, but I Tony Adams was the best central defender I played against, certainly in the Premier League. And Vidic, I think, is very, very similar, and I think they'd be an awesome pair, them two.
Robbie, hundreds and hundreds of appearances in the top flight for you, many battles, and I'm sure you have a few adversaries on your list as well.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to play against every one of them players.
I'm sure you were going to put yourself in.
Again, Schmeichel the best, Gary Neville. I had to borrow Alan's double-sided coin, the same heads on both sides when he chose between Keane and Vieira. Yeah. Mine come out on Keane. Ferdinand, and obviously, I was, in my career, I was fortunate to play against every one of them players, and all world-class players. And
I cannot believe you haven't put yourself in there.
Well,
maybe you put yourself on the bench. Is there a bench anywhere?
Far, far away from that team, there's a bench. Can we put up Robbie's team, just please, once more? I just want to see where you agreed on all 3 players. Schmeichel, all 3. Ashley Cole, all 3. Gary Neville.
Let's be fair.
Ronaldo.
Shearer would be in his team. But he would be, let's be honest.
I think we'll give Shearer as being in all 3 because he's not going to do that. Ronaldo is in all 3. Scholes in all 3. Yeah. What about Giggs? Someone didn't have Giggs.
I never had Giggs.
You never had Giggs, so
it was more the system.
Yeah.
Sister.
Is that what you tell him?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan, it was the
There's
sister.
many great players, but not everyone can take it in the team.
Off you go. We talked a little bit on air, match of the day too, but always push for time. Want to show as many goals and highlights as we can about your time this season at Swansea. So match of the day 3 is the time we can sit back. And you said in match of the day 2 about not having your own training facility, and I wasn't able to ask you on match of the day 2, where do you train? If you haven't got your own designated place, where are you? Down the council rec or?
No, but we actually share a facility, a health club, where the members go in and they can play tennis and there's swimming pool. The actual the facility is a good facility, but it's not exclusive for us. So,
So the players would change in the same changing room as the normal punters coming in?
Absolutely, yeah.
Use the same rooms that would be used for yoga and whatever else?
Absolutely, up the stairs, the gym. And there's a part of it that is actually, the players are in touch with the real world, which can be a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's something where there's lots of other ways in which a performance you'd want to improve. And obviously we can't do that. And then our pitches, we've actually been on an AstroTurf training nearly all year. The 2 pitches that we'd had were poor, really. So it meant that we had to borrow them. We were very fortunate enough that the Ospreys rugby team, who have a terrific facility, who are just directly opposite us, they very kindly adapted their schedule and structure to allow us to go and work on there. So on their AstroTurf pitch. So, as I said, there's been many things for the players to contend with, not just the difficulties of playing in the Premier League, but obviously the training facility, and that's something that the club have got plans to hopefully make better in the years to come. You
said something earlier. It was good fun today actually, because the first game was 12, and when the first game's 12, that means at 12:30 we're all together from noon. So it was we had a good 12 hours and counting as it is now. And Brendan, you were saying earlier about your philosophy when it comes to relieving pressure against big clubs, many of whom you've beaten at the Liberty this season, and you talked about just keep the ball, even if it's not an advanced position. That's how you like to relieve pressure.
Yeah, well, it's something that I've talked about with the players. Earlier on in the season, we had an example where we were looking for that first away win in particular, and we were 2-0 up against Wolves. In the last 5 minutes, for some reason, we just kicked the ball long.
Yeah. Panicked?
Well, it was probably a sense of wanting to get the win, get that first win. So we kicked the ball long, gave it away, but straight away it just comes straight back again into our box. We ended up drawing the game 2 each. So the next week in training, I said to the players we have to retain our composure and relaxation with the ball. And the next week we've done a series of exercises to relieve the pressure, but with the ball. And lo and behold, if it came again, where we were 1-0 up or 2-0 up, we could manage the game with the ball. The following week, we were playing Bolton at home. We were 2-0 up. With 15 minutes to go, and they get the goal to bring it back to 2-1. So now it was going to be an examination of that mindset. And to be fair, the players then, for 10 minutes, Bolton never got a kick of the ball, and that just dampened the motivation. And then we eventually got a third and won the game 3-1.
It's actually a damn sight harder chasing the ball, isn't it, than having the ball and passing it around yourselves.
Also, I suppose, with every placed pass, Alan, even if it's only a 1-yard pass, you're passing along the back 4, confidence grows. The heartbeat goes down a bit all the time. Your ego's getting a little bit bigger. Is that why maybe Wigan, towards the end of the season, we're starting to get scientific evidence of this towards the end of the season? They did it last year, now this year. Could that be a similar philosophy, maybe, that they can just handle that pressure better because they've got the ball?
You've also got to have players who can handle the ball, who are comfortable in that situation. Not only can they handle the ball, can they also handle the pressure? Because bearing in mind, if you're up against it, then the teams are going to be piling at you, particularly last 5 or 10 minutes, and not panic and not be prepared to kick it out into the stands or kick it out for a corner, throw in, whatever. Have the confidence to get the ball, to pass it along the back. And the more you do that, the better you become at it, and the more you get used to the situation. And Swansea have been a great example of that this year, of actually keeping the ball and making other teams work hard.
And we also have to remember we have a Welsh international sitting just beside you here in the first Welsh team in the Barclays Premier League. Robbie, so proud of that, no doubt.
Yeah, and for many years. You know, Swansea were the team under John Tuchek, and then they faded away, and then Cardiff were the team.
Yeah.
You know, and then recently everyone thought Cardiff would get into the Premier League
Yeah.
first, but you know what Swansea and Brendan have done. You know, I played against Swansea last year, and I can say that, you know, that's as hard as I've ever worked as a team.
Really?
We worked against Brendan's team, because at Derby, you know, we just training was fantastic, but this particular week we needed a result, and all week we worked on how to stop Swansea, and it meant each player you had to go as a team and shut them down high up the pitch and try and nick the ball, and we got a goal from putting pressure. I think it was Ashley Williams at the time, and they scored an own goal, and you know, we have pro zone, and I think that was the hardest I think a team's worked that season. I think it was 123 kilometres for the team in that game, which proves you have to work so hard against Swansea City.
You knocked the 3 kilometres off 170 for the other 10, including the goalkeeper.
I could run. I was crap with the ball, but I could run.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Don't put yourself down.
I know. Let me tell you, I was lino in a game that you played in recently. You were the best player in the pitch, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, it was over
circumvent
60s the game.
Yeah, it was. But you didn't have to mention that. I wasn't going to put that in. At the start of the season, some players jumped out very early. Danny Graham very early on in the 5 Live show on a Friday night. We talked about him a lot. And then another player would get the praise, and then another player. It must delight you to sit and listen to 5 Live or watch Match of the Day 2. And we're now down to left backs and right backs. As for last night, 2 nights ago, Match of the Day. No one's let you down in your core of players. It's remarkable confidence they seem to have in themselves.
You know, like I say, you're trying to reinforce and give the players the belief and focus on that positive. I think the star of our team is the team.
Yeah.
I think, with all due respect, if you took too many out of our team and maybe put them in another team, not playing a different style, like Leon Britton was a great example. Leon came out of Swansea, went to Sheffield United, and
Didn't fit in, did he?
no, it was just non-existent. And then he's come back, playing in a certain system, given a defined role, and all of a sudden he's talked in the same breath as Xavi and Iniesta. So, but for me, what's been the joy is seeing players that, in terms of their technique and their style of football, because British players have been accused of not being technically good or as tactically good as European players. In my coaching life, I've set out from a young coach to actually show that British players are equally as good as European players. But what you have to have is the ability to ask them to play that way, and also to have the nerve to get players. Because like Alan said, to ask, when you're under pressure, to ask Leon Britton to go and drop in between your 2 centre-halves on the edge of the box to get the ball, that's courage for me in front of 50,000 people. And as I said, it's something that we work on.
Well, it's an expectation we mentioned for next season is going to be high, but this man can make those comparisons between Spanish players and English players because he speaks fluent Spanish. So in Spanish, tell me your thoughts and hopes for next season in the Premier League.
Próximo año.
Don't know what that meant, but I nodded my head.
Intentamos el mejor. Para nosotros es muy importante. So, la liga es muy difícil, pero intentamos ser mejor.
That's what Alan and I were saying earlier, weren't we, when we were talking in the thing? Yeah, okay. Well, listen, we've got to get this over because we've got a Vamos a la Playa shortly for the summer. Let's have a look at the weekend's results, which we usually do right at the top. And, okay, we didn't, again, there was so much to talk about with Wolves, Man City, because Man City title race back on in their hands and in Manchester United hands. What about Terry Connor's interview, though, Robbie?
Yeah.
With Wolves going down. I mean...
Very
you try to,
emotional.
you know, I know he came through that backroom staff, right? And he was already at the club. And so he has that connection to the whole year, not just 14 games or whatever it was.
Well, it would be nice to see Wolves give somebody like him a proper chance next year. You know, what chances he had this year, really? You know, either that route or a young up-and-coming manager, something like a Lee Clark, because I get fed up of seeing all the old managers, you know, who've been there, you know, getting touted for the same jobs all the time. Why not give a new man a chance? You know, something like Terry Connor, who, what chance he had this season? You know, even with them players, I believe they would have gone down no matter who got in charge. Give him a fair crack at the whip next year, him or somebody up and coming like a Lee Clark.
Okay, as you say, the away form's improved. As you've talked us through exactly why, which was fantastic and insightful. And with Bolton fighting for their lives, you've been playing a lot of the teams at the bottom. A good draw. You must be medium to happy with that.
Yeah, a bit of both, really. You know, you've seen teams go away like Norwich went to Blackburn, and it was a tough game for them. And obviously, when you went to Bolton, you knew they were fighting for all 3 points. For us, we dominated the game and should have won the game. But it's very important, and what I've learned in particular this season is that if you can't win a game, especially away from home, then it's vital that you don't lose it. And a point in this league is vitally important.
And we'll prove that now, because we'll have a look at the league table, the top of it. Depending on the week, you're either at the bottom of this top half or at the top of the bottom half, Brendan. And a point's going to make a huge difference from 7th downwards to about 14th. And at the top, Alan, a point's going to make a massive difference, you get the feeling.
Well, it's all set up for Man United and Man City. It's fascinating how it's going to go down to the last 3 games. I would still say Man United are slight favourites. They have the points there. Yes, they've got to go to the Etihad, and that promises to be an absolute cracker of a game. But Man City have got a tough game away at Newcastle, and that could tell a few stories as well.
Going at the current pace, Robbie, and I thought you made an astute point tonight about a reality check maybe for where Liverpool are in 2012, not 2005 or 1990. Could Liverpool finish with conceivably half the points of the title champions?
Well, 37 points behind for Liverpool Football Club. You know, is that good enough? There's a big debate. If they win the FA Cup, is 2 trophies a successful season, and being 37 points behind the leaders, is that a successful season?
Depending on where your interpretation of where the club are,
yeah,
gives you that answer.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the bottom half of the table. It's interesting this now, Mr. Rodgers, because you're more than capable with the fixtures coming up to finish in the top half. That's going to raise the expectation even higher. Because we'll forget about this table come the first match of the day. We'll just say, a top half club. Now they're struggling in 13th. That's the type of pressure we'll heap on you, sir.
And when you're in the bottom half next season, we'll start hammering you.
Absolutely. Listen, it's for us. You know, people talk about the second season syndrome. It'll be the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th season syndrome for us. You know, in terms of where we're at in terms of club and budget. You know, I think for us, for me, my vision coming in was very simple. One, it was to try and make Swansea City a sustainable club in the Barclays Premier League. Now, for us, whether that's 8th, 13th, 17th. Being in there is the most important thing for Swansea, because you get the resources to hopefully then build the club. So for us, it's been an iconic season. We've got 3 games still to go. We want to finish well, and we want to finish high as we possibly can.
Are Liverpool coming to the Liberty, or are you going to Anfield last game?
No, they come to the Liberty.
What's a celebration that'll be either way for the city of Swansea? That game, with no fear as well, Robbie, going into it, knowing they can take another scalp easily. Fantastic send-off for the season.
Yeah, well, whatever happens in that game, Swansea have been a huge success. Yeah. And I believe that they'll beat Liverpool. And the question is, you've got to ask yourself, take Gerrard out of Liverpool's team, how many of them Liverpools may feel will get in Swansea?
I think they've been
struggling to think at the moment to one.
Swansea and Norwich have been a breath of fresh air, haven't they? The way they've attacked the Premier League, the way they've played football, the way they've entertained. I mean, there hasn't been many times this season when we've been sat on a Saturday or a Sunday night and been too critical of either side. So, and that is largely down to this fella and down to Paul Lambert. So they've had great seasons. Right,
quiz time, Alan. Weird to have 3 people on, obviously, for Match Day 3, so you don't have to do the quiz.
Can I go now?
No. it's gonna drag even more for you, because at least you're answering. So we always do a quiz. Yep. So we had Jonas Olsson on last week, and it was the Swede quiz. So tonight it's the Rodgers quiz. So you get 5 each, like a penalty shootout. Yep. Guys, you're going to go first, Brendan. It's Rodgers, and you've got to identify the Roger or Rodgers. Roger is in their name somewhere. So this is you going first. This is your Roger. Where is he? Right down the bottom left is your Roger. He was in the England 1966 World Cup team.
Not that geezer there.
Yeah,
Roger. Can it pass on?
No, it's not going to pass on. There was a Roger in that squad. Does he come to your mind?
Yeah, we're looking at our fella here.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's his name, though?
It's Roger.
Roger? Roger.
Hey, just go and play. Roger Hunt.
Yes, there you go.
There you go.
Did you have a wee woo? Let's see if we can...
No, they sort of mind freeze there.
Where?
Where is he?
Which one is he? I can't see from here, I have no eyesight. Behind Alan Ball, that's him. Right, okay, well done, 1-0. That was complicated, because I was thinking, I'm sure his name wasn't Roger. And this is for you, Robbie. That's a Roger. Have a go? I didn't say it was all sport.
He's an astronaut.
Is it an astronaut?
Yeah.
Well, he could be. I don't know.
He's an astronaut, isn't it?
Don't look at me
But
for
he's
any
got an
help.
American flag on his arm.
Yes, so an American astronaut.
That's got to give me a point. Roger.
No, gonna have to hurry it.
No.
He gets Roger. I get an astronaut.
Listen, wait until all 5 before you say it's unfair.
Roger.
The
Give me the
answer?
American name.
The answer is Buck Rogers.
Wow.
Buck Rogers.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
shocking.
So, of course, all the faces are covered up with your face. But
course.
let's have a look at this one. Which Roger is this? This is for you.
It looks like Roger Federer.
Let's have a look. I don't know what gave it away, but yeah, Roger Federer dressed snazzily as always. It's really easy, Robbie. So, but you need this. Which the one on the right as we look at it. Which Roger is that? Now the clue is the other people. Robbie,
I don't know who they are. Any of them.
okay. They
Who's
are a
the band?
very famous British band.
And
Rogers.
Roger Daltrey.
Correct. Get in. Well done. There he is. Right. Let's bring up another Roger, and this is. This is for yourself.
absolutely.
Which Roger's that?
That looks like Roger Mia.
Yeah, pronounced correctly as well. We say Roger Miller. There you go. Amazing. How old was he? You would have been at that World Cup 41, 42.
He was late on, wasn't he?
Oh, he was wonderful. Did England knock them out that tournament, didn't they?
Did they? What year
I
was
think
it?
they did.
Yeah.
1990.
Quarterfinals?
Finals.
Yeah, 3-1.
Lineker.
That was Platt.
I wasn't
Penalties, 3-2.
Lineker scored a goal to equalise. Went 2-2. Then went
Okay.
penalties.
Talking of
Two penalties.
scores, at the moment you've got all 3 so far, Brendan. Robbie, you've only got 1 and we had to help you. This one's a bit easier for you.
Is that me there, though?
Well, it's meant to be. Her hair's better than yours,
I'll give you a
anyway.
clue. I'll give you a clue. He's called Fred Astaire. She's called?
Ginger Rogers.
Correct. Well done. You're still in it. This is actually a difficult one now. This is not a player who plays at a Premier League club. So let me just show you that, and you can have a go guessing which Rogers that is. Brendan?
I would go for Anton.
I was hoping you're going to get this wrong. For people who don't know, this is Brendan's son, now at Brighton. Here he is playing for Chelsea. He got the wife's looks.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. So it's almost over as a competition. It wasn't really a good competition to begin. This is yours, Robbie. Nobody does it
Roger
better.
Moore.
Roger Moore, lovely. You've done all right, you know. I thought you would have got 1 most. Maybe got 3. So you actually still need to get this for the win. So this is for you, Brendan.
I know that one.
Can I just say, well
You know
done, well done to everybody, all of our staff in the edit suite for finding so many facial expressions of Brendan here to cover them up.
It says Roger Black.
Tony did it in Cardine. Thanks very much. Right, who's that?
Roger Black.
Roger Black it is. Fantastic. 5 out of 5. Well done. And just to finish for yourself, Robbie, who's that?
Roger Ramjet.
Roger Ramjet it is. Let's see the real Roger Ramjet, please. He's our man.
And the other one that was on.
Alan, Brendan, Robbie, thank you very much for staying behind for Match of the Day 3. Don't forget, you've got 3 Match of the Days coming up for you. Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday week for Manchester United's trip to the Etihad in what could decide the title, but after this season, it's probably not gonna.